Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm asked all the time to show like some of the older, a lot of people that are there's so many more people that are in this space watching these videos now than there have been in the past. And I feel like the industry, digital assets and the industry in general is at the point where it's about to really break through. So for many of the people out there who weren't around the last 2 or 3 years, it's interesting to go back and show them some video that they may not have ever seen. So I decided, and I've been asked a lot of times, I've decided to do a few videos over the course of this week that go back and show you some of the players involved at Ripple, and show you some of the old video as well as some of the new video from those individuals. I'm going to do this video on Chris Larsen. So all the videos that I'm showing you are from Chris Larsen, who's now the chairman of Ripple, but was one of the founders of Ripple. Now, a lot of people don't know, but it was called OpenCoin. And then I can't remember if they closed OpenCoin and then started Ripple. I don't remember how. But this is 2013. Chris Larsen, CNBC, when it was called OpenCoin in 2013.
How exactly does Ripple work? Is it a similar platform?
Yeah, so it's based on the same idea. Math-based currency simply means that the currency itself is defined by a mathematical relationship of servers in a distributed network. So instead of it being controlled by a central authority, whether that be a company or a country, it's based simply on a math relationship. So the idea is that there can never be any more of the currency once the amount has been set. So it can't be debased, for example, and then people can always depend on a predictable number. Ripple and Bitcoin, though, work in different ways. We've saw what Bitcoin has done over the last 4 years. We're really excited by it. We kept the good stuff, and we sort of fixed some of the flaws that we felt could be iterated on, and that's what OpenCoin is trying to do.
Now, how widespread is it going to be? I mean, what can I do? What can I actually do with Ripple right now? What can I transact in? And what is your global audience, your global reach like right now? Or is it really very, very nascent early days to be talking in terms like that?
Yeah, it's definitely the early days. There's 100 billion ripples that have been created. About 1 billion of them have been now distributed in the system. But I think what people are now realizing with these math-based currencies is it isn't maybe the currency that is so potentially revolutionary, but really the payment systems that naturally come with them. So the idea that you can make global payments in any currency to anyone, which really should be great for e-commerce, for example. There are irreversible payments, so merchants love that. It's analogous to cash. So what these systems should really do is really help merchants, small businesses, and people lower the cost of doing commerce. And we think that's the most exciting thing about this movement, and that's really what we focused on. So, for example, Ripple is multi-currency. You can use it with math-based currencies, virtual currencies, regular currencies. There is a distributed currency exchange built right into it, and that's what we're excited about.
Okay, one of the interesting things out of that you probably didn't know is that they used to call XRP ripples. So you were buying ripples, I guess. Okay, this is Chris Larsen from September 2018.
The whole world kind of light up. The U.S. is obviously very important in that dollar clearing.
Come on, don't stall out on me. That's
very key. We feel great about the progress we've made there with American Express, for example. We've got some other partners that we're very, very excited about. So I think the regulatory environment also in the U.S., frankly, it's the best fintech environment you've had in the history of this country.
Why is that?
Well, I think this administration gets that fintech and innovation is as important as supporting the big guys, and the big guys and the new fintechs can actually work together to really accelerate the progress. So we're very bullish about the U.S. kind of regulatory system under this administration. And we think that the regulators are taking a thoughtful approach. You've got to stop the bad guys that try to exploit all this incredible progress, but also hype that's going on here in this business. But also support the platforms, make sure that you're not picking winners and losers, that all the major platforms compete on an equal playing field. So we're really bullish about what this administration is doing from a regulatory standpoint.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm giving proper credit here. This was from the first one was from Stephen Bull Dieppe, and then this one is from Real XRP Boy. And now let's show you this. This is from I Am Legion in a thread. Watch this. This is Chris Larsen and Stefan Thomas on stage talking about.
And the white paper for Interledger came out, where we tried to kind of put all the pieces in place for it. And I'll hand to you.
Because remember, Ripple always was different from Bitcoin in that you could put anything of value in it, right? So this idea of kind of, we would call it IOUs or balances, but really being value agnostic, and that then being the engine for the exchange of that thing of value. But having the combination of ILP with XRP, we think that's kind of the killer formula.
Yeah, so now you can have any type of value, like any currency, but also any type of ledger. So like anything from a centralized ledger to a blockchain, etc.
Okay, and then we've got this from Jack the Rippler. Listen to this one. This is from Cybos 2014, Chris Larsen.
Value exchange, and that's really.
And you're going to see a guy in this video, by the way. He's now the CTO of R3. I don't know if he was in this video. He's the same guy that said that he can't talk about Ripple because he's under NDA.
Really, the mission that we're trying to accomplish. What does that mean for financial institutions? Well, it means that banks remain the custodians, but they can also correspond with each other directly, and they can use this real-time settlement system without putting up capital on both sides, and with getting maximum competition for that exchange of value. It's a fundamental structural change in correspondent banking. The networks, whether that be SWIFT or Visa or Earthport, they can also use those same benefits for their customers. And then for regulators, we actually think this is also a big step forward, because you get so much more transparency. It's so much easier to track sort of degrees of separation tools in real time. We think it actually shortens the time it takes to catch the bad guys.
This whole space I regard as a source of potential innovation.
That's the CTO of R3 today that can't talk about Ripple. This is one of my favorite clips with Chris Larsen, because who says this? That's what I always say when I see this clip. Listen to what he says here.
About the future of cryptocurrencies, where do you see the future of these digital assets, and maybe the role of Bitcoin and Ripple or XRP in that future?
Yeah, so our view is that these digital assets really become supplemental to the existing family of currencies, right? So every country still needs its own, fiat currency for all kinds of reasons. I won't get into it. It's very complicated, right? And I actually think that the big four, the yen, the euro, the dollar, the RMB, they actually, I think, come stronger in this world that we're going into, partially because of digital assets.
Okay.
That these digital assets actually contribute to a world that's more interoperable, where more people around the globe can get access to these big four. And most of global commerce is done in the big four. So I think you have a bifurcation going on. Those big four get stronger. I think some of the smaller currencies, maybe even more of the very small fiat currencies, become less relevant, maybe even disappear. A country could have its own fiat, but still use one of the big four. You have lots of
like
examples.
Montenegro, right?
Absolutely. But I think then where the digital assets fit in, like things like XRP and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're kind of in that mid-range. They become, I think, like the Singapore dollar or the Swiss franc, and they become useful in, kind of lubricating the world to make it easier for those big four to get in the hands of people all around the world. So that's useful. And then it might also be things like applications and devices that maybe primarily use one of those digital assets. So that's kind of the view we have. So I think in that world, countries should be less threatened by what's going on and see them as simply supplemental rather than a threat. Too much talk about it being a threat. Our industry has done a bad job in and too much bravado and chest pounding. It's just kind of silly.
All right. And by the way, that one was also, this guy has really put up some good video over the time. Stephen Bull, Dieppe. And then we have this one who's from Jack the Rippler, who's also put up a lot of good stuff. Listen to what he says in this at Money 2020. I don't remember what year. I think it was 2019 maybe.
Is 10 years out on the financial crisis. We still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. You know, the world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. If with a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, again, that's what we believe will be the most efficient, you can now reduce trillions and trillions of capital from being tied up. So you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider or as an enterprise without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world. So that.
And then we had this. This is Chris Larsen. I don't know when this is, but it's Sarah Winter had posted this. I'm not sure when this was.
A burden on global trade. And then along comes a very, very simple innovation, a very simple technology, nothing super complicated, very, very basic, low level, called the shipping container in about the 50s. And that fundamentally changed the way goods and shipping worked. In the next 20 years, you had about a 700% increase in global trade. And why is that? It's because now goods were completely interoperable around the world. You could go from ship to train to truck without having to touch anything. Every port in the world was interoperable. You didn't need bilateral agreements to ship goods. Shipping companies were interoperable.
So this is a retweet of this payment infrastructure news. It says, in terms of transport, ISO 20022 messaging standards can be likened to the cargo containers, where different variations of payment data can be transported in each message. So anyway, so that's pretty interesting. And then finally, I wanted to show you this clip. This is I don't remember when this is from either, but it's Chris Larsen.
What really struck us and why we went all in on this whole blockchain movement is we just realized there's a fundamental problem in the world that needs to be solved, and that is you really can't have globalization that's workable unless you have interoperability in three things: data, goods, and money. And we only have those in two things: data and goods. Without the money part, globalization doesn't work. It's incomplete. So what's really exciting is we think what blockchain really represents, the finishing of an internet of value, is the completion of globalization. And now suddenly I think we have a much better chance of that working for another 2 billion people. We just thought there was just a matter of time before the world was going to have some form of a digital currency that had no government behind it or no counterparty. But I think that kind of evolved into this excitement around, hey, that it's not just about the currency, but fundamentally it's about wiring an internet for money. This is almost like 1994, the first days of the data internet. But I think what that means for the world is it's the commoditization of reach. Suddenly, every single entrepreneur, every bank, every currency in the world has unlimited reach. And right now, that's not the way it is. And that's just exactly what happened to data. Now is happening for money. And that's really fun and exciting. And I think we'll have, kind of the stakes are even larger when it comes to money and value. This is going to be a profound change on the way the world works, and I think brings the world closer together. I mean, through all this backlash and globalization, we all know that we have no hope unless we are kind of working together. And I think this is really going to clear a lot of the friction that's kind of getting in the way of the promise that globalization was supposed to bring.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family to watch these Chris Larsen videos on my channel. Thank you for listening.